Well, thank you very much for staying with us. Now, let's get into the conversation. Nigeria's worsening insecurity has ignited a storm of controversies after former Vice President Atiku Abubakar accused terrorists of operating like an alternative government under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, walking away freely after mass abductions. Well, his remarks followed revelations by presidential aide Bayo Onanuga that the DSS and military had to negotiate directly with bandits to secure the release of 38 Kwara church worshippers, a shocking admission that underscores the state's fragility. Well, in response, President Tinubu ordered a full security cordon around Kwara Forest and directed the Air Force to maintain surveillance over vulnerable villages. But critics argue that such measures remain reactive and fail to address the root causes of banditry. Well, the crisis deepened when a father of three abducted Niger school children reportedly died of a heart attack, a tragedy the Christian Association of Nigeria described as symbolic of unbearable trauma ordinary families endure. Meanwhile, lawmakers are considering reviewing Nigeria's firearm laws to allow citizens to own guns for self-defense, a move that has sparked heated debate about whether arming civilians will ease or worsen insecurity. Well, the House of Representatives has also raised the alarm over bandits threatening members, urging President Tinubu to reconsider the withdrawal of police escorts from VIPs. And adding fuel to the fire, former Foreign Minister Bolaji Akiemi alleged that government officials have been entertaining terrorists, further eroding public confidence. Well, that basically gives you an overview of what's been happening in Nigeria. And to help us unravel all of this, we have our guests, both in-house and virtual, that will be joining the conversation from our outstations. Well, with us in the studio, we have Dele Fanimo, who is a veteran reporter. Well, good to have you join us.
All right, I'll prefer the seasoning cubes to veteran.
We also have, good morning. We also have Barrister Asim Adams will be joining the conversation very shortly. He's was a spokesperson, a former spokesperson to Chief Beatrice Itubo, a P2B campaign organization, Labour Party in Rivers State in the 2023 elections. But from Port Harcourt, we have Prince Nixon Okwara, a public political affairs commentator, political strategist, certified security and risk management expert, and also CEO Onyx Group. Well, he joins the conversation. And from Abuja, Aliyu Usman, who is a public affairs commentator, also joins the conversation. Well, I would like to start off with you, Aliyu Usman. Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation. Let's establish communication with you.
Yeah, good morning. It's a pleasure to join you again this morning.
Good to have you. Good to have you. Now, let's look at the statements that have come out from the chambers, the House of Assembly. The withdrawal of policemen is creating fear within the honorable members because they're saying, look, our lives are at risk now. What does that, I mean, how does that make you feel? What's your first reaction to that? Seeing that a lot of Nigerians, I mean, with 100,000 policemen guarding VIPs in Nigeria, out of 370 plus thousand policemen registered in Nigeria, and now they are saying, look, because you've ordered that our aides, our police escort be taken away, our lives are at risk. What impression does that give you about our political office holders in comparison to what the ordinary Nigerian has been going through?
Well, it's an unfortunate situation to be in the position that the lawmakers are going to be. And Honorable Idris Wase is a very ranking member of the National Assembly. I think legislative experience of over 20 years and has been a deputy speaker at some point. So he speaks with a lot of gravitas on this matter when he comes out to make such a statement. If you observe it without the usual sentiment that we tend to bring to bear when we look at especially our lawmakers, especially in the light of recent developments, you see that there is substance to what the Honorable is saying. And I give you two examples. One happened less than a month ago. Honorable Jafar Mohammed from Niger State, representing Agwara Borgu Federal Constituency. He was attacked and his security details killed, and I think his driver barely escaped with serious injury. Himself, it was a miracle how he escaped. Few weeks before that, I think, or maybe after that, I don't recollect exactly, in Kebbi State, neighboring Kebbi State, Deputy Speaker of the Kebbi State House of Assembly was abducted, and he was with abductors for nearly 2 weeks before he was released.
Now, so if you speak to, sorry to interrupt you, if you speak to Nigerians on the street, Nigerians actually are happy that these political office holders are experiencing this, because a lot of Nigerians are being abducted on a daily basis. Youth corps members are being abducted, and it feels like nothing seriously is being done. So some Nigerians are saying, look, let them feel what we have been feeling. Maybe then they will pass laws that will really protect everybody. Don't you think?
Well, I agree with the sentiment of Nigerians to be angry with the situation that we find ourselves in this country. But you see, the lawmaking arm of the government is not the problem. With respect to all of the laws and amendments that need to be made, you have to give it to the legislature at this point in time. Even this week, as we speak, from Tuesday up to today, Thursday, they've been hammering on the security situation. If you go back to the previous administration, perhaps it's on record, no any arm of government or ever stood on the matter of insecurity in this country like the National Assembly did. I specifically will remember how the last National Assembly, for instance, stood its ground asking the former president, the late president, to change its service chiefs, rejig and bring in some energy. So to that extent, you can be fair to the National Assembly and say that it has stood with the people. Don't forget, they represent the people. Honorable Jafar, who I'm telling you got attacked, was attacked in his constituency in Agwara, where the recent kidnapping also happened. So these people are even trying to go back there, feel the pulse of. To that extent, it may be maybe insensitive, to express the opinion that they don't care about the people and don't know what is going on. They know, they are the representatives of the people. And nearly every week in the chamber of the National Assembly, you will see one bill or the other that is talking about insecurity and the need to do something about it. However, there are too many security attaches to political office holders, and I agree that it should be scaled down. I agree totally. I'm in agreement with that policy directive of Mr. President, because you just need to be in Abuja. Sometimes you don't even know who these people are, and they are moving with security retinue that leaves you wondering. Even if it's a minister, for instance, an appointed official who lives here in Abuja, one of the most secured places in this country, moving around with a retinue of security aides that you begin to ask yourself, how would this person move if he were to be to live in some of the security flashpoints in the country? Now, when looking to withdraw this security, I think that it should be done in a manner that doesn't endanger lives, especially of people who have to go down and do their work in places where there is an existential threat to their lives, like we saw in the case of Honorable Jafar of Niger State and a lot of other areas in the country where people like them, government officials, cannot go. But
all right, Usman, thank you very much. I'd like for you to, let me stay with you. When you talk about the legislature doing its job, and so it looks like you are trying to shield them from responsibility because you say it is the work of the executive. I also understand that apart from making laws, the legislature, they also have a constitutionally empowered to do oversight functions. And we have committees on like the police, on the security agencies and all of that. Don't you think that that oversight power also gives them a certain level of responsibility that they should share in that responsibility if anything goes wrong with the security architecture? And when you talk about people like the man that you mentioned who was attacked in his community, if everything had been done right, will he be attacked?
Well, thank you so much for that question. If everything had been done right, he wouldn't have been attacked. But I need you to know that the attack was not from the people, it's from the criminal elements.
Exactly the same. That's the same thing. If those criminal elements had been flushed out, who would have attacked him?
No one. But what we are trying to say, and I agree with your earlier question about the oversight function of the National Assembly, and I think, was it yesterday, I saw Senator Ali Ndume and the Senate President having, some exchanges, and Senator Ndume was speaking from his time as a chair of the Senate Committee on Army. And I agree 100% they have their role to play. And it is in light of that that I have also been saying, because I'm close to the National Assembly, I have one or two things that I know about certain things that go there. And I know that with respect to oversight, some of these things are not what you can just use to hold the National Assembly for not doing their part. Because despite the oversight function of the National Assembly over the security agencies, don't forget there's the Committee on Army, there's that of Air Force, there's that of there's defense, and then there is also Navy, police, and other agencies as well. Now, the overall power lies with the president. He is the commander-in-chief. No matter the amount of oversight that the National Assembly does, only the commander-in-chief, has the final say is that we are talking about. Right. And one of the policy directives that the president has taken now, for instance, to withdraw or rather scale down the security attaches that some of these people have, is one of those things that he has done. What we need to do now is how much backing will this get from the National Assembly? Because if the National Assembly pushes back and say, oh no, we need this thing badly, and maybe through the back door manages to go and do some negotiations and retain these security details, because it's not the first time that these things have been done. But at the end of the day, the same thing.
Well, I think they will. It will be nice to see. It will be nice to see them.
We tend to overemphasize this on the National Assembly.
Okay.
Not even every member of the National Assembly have a security detail. I dare say 50% of them don't even carry security detail. Now,
well, it will be nice to see them work with NSCDC,
DGs, ministers, executive secretaries.
Okay.
Some of these people have 3, 4, 5 security.
Well, thank you very much, Ali Usman. Let's get others' contribution to this as well. And like I said, it will be nice to see the NSCDC secure our political office holders. Prince Nixon Okwara, good to have you join the conversation.
Good morning from here. How are you today?
Good morning. Very well, thank you. Very well. Now, the president has declared, security emergency nationwide. DSS swing into action, deploy forest guards, aerial surveillance around the forest in some troubled areas, recruit more people into the police, 20,000 to boost the numbers. to 50,000. Some have said this will not bring immediate solution to the problem, because I mean, if you're recruiting, you need time to, first of all, make the announcement, recruit them, train them before you start deploying them, and that will take almost 1 year to achieve. What other measures do you think the government should take to ensure that Nigerians feel protected? Nigerians have a sense of, protection around them in the immediate.
Yes, thank you very much for this question. As a matter of fact, the list of
Hello?
strategies and emergency situations the president has raised
Hello?
is commendable. I believe some of them will yield the expected
Hello?
results. But I think that there should be more decisive actions on these bandits. As a matter of fact, I said it sometime on this program, maybe early this year or something, that the bandits are moving towards the Nigerian territory and it's going to become worse than what it is. And the security situation will worsen. It is not something this president created. It is something that has really become a problem before he assumed the office. And I'm happy he's taking up head on and taking responsibility. But I think that the situation we are now is beyond just a mere rhetorics. We could do aerial bombardment on these people without looking back. As a matter of fact, there are so many approaches to a war situation. We are in a war situation. Let us just call a spade at this time. The bandits have just left the primary level of insurgency, or what we used to call it, to full-scale war. And also, I look at the president also taking some decisive actions, because when you look at the history of Nigeria and how the insecurity started in Nigeria, in Sokoto or so, and these things also resonated immediately with some pronouncements of Sharias and some extremism of some people in kind of. So there's supposed to be some religious curtailing of some.
Allow me button at this point, if you don't mind. The president is talking tough right now. The president is spitting fire. Take over the forest and all of that. He has said a lot of things, but a lot of Nigerians feel like that's lip service, like he's not serious. And I say this with regards to statements made public very recently by the president's media aide, by Ononuga, that it came, the GSS could and actually tracked the kidnappers of those girls to where they were, and they had a conversation, really. They had a conversation and then released the girls. I mean, you obviously, I would like to believe that you are aware of that information, so I wouldn't want to go into the nitty-gritty of it. But if we would have kidnappers, kidnapped victims released without seeing a depletion in the numbers of their abductors, do you think Nigerians should take the government seriously when it talks about protecting the people and fighting kidnapping, insurgency, terrorism, as we are experiencing right now?
It's unfortunate that we play a lot with certain situations. In the military operations, sometimes they have their overt and their covert operations, and it's not everything that the military does to secure release of abductees that they make public. Anywhere in the world, sometimes you see exchange of war prisoners, detainees, and all the rest of them in some form of military operations. So the military deserve the right to conceal certain, especially when such approach is still ongoing. What is important is that once human lives are involved, especially those young children, it becomes so sensitive, because in the first place, those terrorists have taken human shield with innocent lives. Don't forget what accusations Ejika faced during the era of Jonathan. And a lot of people, this is a democratic situation. Before you know it, they are accusing the military of unprofessional conduct, killing. You had somebody that's from some part of this country coming openly to tell you that an attack on the bandits is an attack on the north. So there are so many.
Hello? Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Much civilian casualties, and when that is achieved, the same actors who blackmail the country, those people who are the same people trying to. If you look at any time president announces his political moves or something, there will be one incident somewhere. So you find out that some of these politicians are behind it and leveraging the fact that we are in a democratic situation. That's why I believe that the president should bite harder in this form without minding whose ox is God.
Interesting
Because
point. You should fight.
at the end of the day, you hear the same kind of people coming out now to call out the head of Mr. President. So this is sad.
They are not calling out the head of the Mr. President, if you ask me, Prince Nick. Same cause that the president also was so tough when it was Jonathan's administration, calling for his resignation if he cannot protect life and properties of Nigeria. That is what I think Nigerians are doing at this point. Let's take this conversation to Barrister Asim Adams. Barrister Asim Adams, what do you make of this new talk on the floor of the Senate about Nigerians possibly being allowed, responsible Nigerians being allowed to carry firearms to protect themselves? You know, what does that make with the fragility of Nigeria at this point, the back and forth, the kidnapping, the killing, the tensions on the land? What do you think how do you think this will shape in the country if we have to allow people to carry firearms? I would like you to unmute your device, unmute your microphone.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Good. That particular bill before the Senate, for me, if the law is passed, it's going to be a law that I describe as ad hominem, a law that will, bring cataclysmic results. Why am I saying this? Is that right now in Nigeria, anger and angst and pangs has gotten to the boiling point. Many Nigerians on the street, as we speak right now, because of change of 50 naira or 100 naira, they engage themselves openly in fisticuffs in the public places. Many Nigerians, as I speak right now, with hot temper, you give them guns, whether light weapons or whatever as you call it, you are going to be picking dead bodies on the street on a daily basis. That I can assure you. Also, with the proliferation of arms in Nigeria today on social media, I have seen visuals of non-state actors who are in possession of AK-47, rifles, running into hundreds. Now, if you empower a man like me, whether I'm responsible or not, do you know my temperament? Do you know the kind of anger, behavior I have? The Nigeria situation, people are hungry, people are angry.
Don't you think, Barrister, don't you think Nigerians have a desire to defend themselves? Don't you think that law, if passed, will enable other people rise up and defend themselves against this rising insecurity?
Defending themselves is relative. If I have a fight with you and I shoot you and kill you, for instance, I will say I was defending myself. I don't think we have gotten that psychological balance in Nigeria. The average Nigerian man do not possess that psychological balance that you have in other climes. Even in other climes where you have psychological balance, among citizens, you will see a kid who picks up an AK-47 rifle, go to a shopping mall and kill about 10 people. That is in a civilized crime, organized society. So when you weaponize people around in Nigeria here, a country that many are hungry, many are angry,
all right,
and you now weaponize them.
Okay.
I am telling you that at the end of the day, you'll be shocked that you'll be picking bodies from the streets.
All right,
In Lagos,
Barrister.
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, in Lagos,
Yes.
I am a lawyer. I keep telling you this. If you go to the police stations all over Nigeria, all over Lagos today, you are going to see a lot of people who have been stabbed one way or another, because of very simple, arguments between two people. So when you now weaponize them, a man can pull up his AK-47 or any other gun and bring down his neighbors. We don't have that psychological balance here. That is my opinion.
All right then. Okay. Well,
Yes.
let's talk a bit about the recruitment, the security emergency that the president has declared. 20,000 to be recruited to the police and the rest. Will that bring immediate succor to people? Will that solve the immediate problem, in your opinion?
It will not. You see, let me tell you why it will not. We have gone beyond that, kind of medieval policing tactics by lining men on the streets. Even if you put 1 million, Nigeria security forces around our forests. The bandits do not operate like that. The bandits operate technologically, tactically. That is why you find out that while we are sleeping, you will hear that bomb blast somewhere that you couldn't even imagine. Like what happened in Kwara State. How did they go there? If they did it tactically, it was a tactical, movement. It was a tactical assault on the church. It was not by lining bandits or your security men around the street that you protect. We have gone beyond that. What we do is technology. Security is not technology. Like your CCTV camera in your house. When somebody is approaching your premises and you are awake, you can sight him from your camera that is in your house there. Then you take immediate measures to now protect yourself using force of arm or whatever the case may be. Even if you are not at home, your CCTV camera will record what happened within your vicinity for that period you were away. So what the Nigerian government should do is for them to deploy technology and track these bandits and terrorists wherever they are. Most of them use telephones. Most of the bandits today, they do TikTok.
Yes, but DSS has said, look, they have the technology, they can track them. But how do you react to the fact that there was a conversation, kidnapped victims were released, and Nigerians are saying, okay, so why did you let their abductors go? Because right after that release, we saw another abduction in a neighboring town to Eruku, a neighboring town.
I understand. Let me tell you, that is what we call cock and bull story. You understand? That is a cock and bull story you give to serenade a child to sleep. The presidency want to serenade Nigerians to sleep. By saying how can you go there and negotiate or you discuss? You didn't even say that, you say you discussed. Do you know the meaning of discussion? Underline.
Do you think
in your dictionary?
Do you think they would have attacked? Because the children that were abducted probably were used as human shield. So would you have suggested an attack at that point in time?
Let me tell you what happened. In situations like that, the DSS and the security agencies were well trained. There is what we call collateral damage. People must lose their life in situations like that. But make sure you neutralize them. Now, what do I mean? If for instance, the bandits holding these children to ransom by about 30 number, and they are holding about 2 or 3 kids, or maybe about 50 of them to ransom, you can tactically neutralize them. America has done that a number of times. Israel did that a number of times. Nigeria can do that. We have the technological power, as they said, the DSS said. If they do not have, let them collaborate with the US and other foreign nations for them to do that. There is no way. It is only in the Bible they said that 100 went and the whole 100 returned. There was no loss. That Nigerian mentality of no loss. No. In situations like this, you must have to go in there with brute force.
You're talking about collateral damage, but it's also interesting to know that a father who happens to have the 3 children kidnapped in St. Mary's Catholic School died of heart attack Imagine when people's children will use, now as the collateral damage you made mention of, what will become of the parents. Let's bring the conversation to the studio where we have Mr. Delefanimo. Mr. Delefanimo, the Senate declares a kidnapping, banditry as terrorism, citing, life or death sentence to be the penalty. And they also warn against maybe the justice or judges in charge of these people going on to give them option of fine. Do you think that this is a good deterrent for people to stop causing issues or carnages in Nigeria?
Well, the latest push for death sentence for committing kidnapping is not a novel thing. Some states have already passed it more than 5-6 years ago. And so I don't know why they just woke up now that they are saying they want to pass a bill over what, for instance, Edo had done that, I think when Oshomole was there as governor. And Oshomole left government now, it should be about 9 years ago. So I think Ondo State did as a result of the fallout of Fashion Roti's daughter, Fashion Roti. So it's not going to be now. You see, for me, rather than buy guns, why don't we buy peace? The only way is to make kidnapping unattractive. If you don't make kidnapping unattractive and you are saying you are sentencing, the justice administration in this country is so bad that you may end up killing the innocent and leaving the assailant.
Dele, do you have prescriptions on how we can make kidnapping unattractive?
You see, the first thing to make kidnapping unattractive is to ensure that anybody is dissuaded from kidnapping by deploying technology that will make it very difficult for them to escape justice. For instance, if I am a kidnapper and I know that the security is so tight that except I escape out of this country with my victim, I will be detected. It won't be attractive.
And if you are detected, what becomes of you?
Because if I know that I will be detected, I know that I don't have the opportunity of even enjoying the proceeds of that enterprise.
Probably by going to jail or death
Exactly.
sentence.
By going to jail. You
Or death sentence.
This death sentence thing, we have had people being sentenced to death. And while they are tied to stake to be shot, you see armed robbers those days committing armed robbery.
Okay, so you think it's not enough deterrent?
It's not. It's not good.
Okay, so technology is what is required to make.
I don't make that law 9 years ago.
So technology is what is required. Technology is what we need to stop kidnapping.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we talk about technology,
once you are able, you see, those days when we were reading the Jerusalem chase, at some point you know that towards the end, this criminal cannot escape. They will catch him.
Okay, even the movies we watch,
Even the movies we watch,
the end point is that
you know that
it is not beneficial.
Yes.
Now, talking about technology, we have a president that has declared a state of emergency, on insecurity in Nigeria. Probably, this is the first time we are hearing it under his administration. We have also heard that before, declare state of emergency on this area and this area. Do you think it is lip service? Do you think it is soundbite? How far do you think, based on the politics, the security, the economics of insecurity itself, how far do you think we can travel in this?
You see, when you talk about state of emergency in the area of insecurity, for me, what are those things put in place to ensure that it's not going to be just like you described, soundbites that may not even travel far? Now, you're talking about recruitment of additional policemen. I can bet you criminals would infiltrate that recruitment exercise somebody that is very notorious in your community will just disappear for 6 months, and after 6 months will just appear in that community with uniform and AK-47. Would that stop him from plying his trade? The mechanism for making sure that the process is transparent and only those people that are emotionally and psychologically fit and physically fit
will be recruited.
Will be recruited. Okay. You recall that Obasanjo did the same thing
and got more men into the police force.
Do you know that the fallout of that Obasanjo's mass recruitment, that they didn't take account of investigating those who have criminal records, those who are bad boys, are the fallout of what we see today.
Okay, so
around the nucleus of that recruitment at that time are the current day inspectors of police.
Okay, so recruitment is not going to solve the problem. Death sentence will probably not solve the problem. So yeah, you talked about technology. Now, when you talk about technology, does that call for cooperation? Because we apparently don't have that technology. We cannot manufacture. So does it call for cooperation, collaboration?
That is why
between Nigeria, EU, United States, and
that's why multilateral organizations like UN agencies, like even countries. America is saying it wants to support our military and also transfer technology.
But some people are saying that, look, that's more like an infringement on our sovereignty.
What infringement?
You don't agree?
It's just like you say, you know, there is this local parlance that says, no, I don't want anybody to steal my destiny. You that has the destiny, you have not been able to use it. So why not allow that person to steal that destiny so that they can share out of the loot?
Do you think we'll have the political will for us to run with this technology you just made mention? Of course, from what the likes of Garuba Medical talked about, the senator representing Kebbi South, he was of the opinion that some people know who these bandits are. They know where they are. They know who their parents are. And even a sitting senator said something, a sitting governor said something about that too, knowing these people. But killing them or taking them out turned out to be the problem. Because he is still today, he is still asking, who made the call? How is it that security personnel sanctioned or stationed somewhere in Kebbi, they were called and they withdrew their services hours before these girls were kidnapped? I'm talking about the schoolgirls that have regained freedom now and reconnected with their parents.
We have seen several cases of that since this insurgency happened. You recall about 2 weeks ago, there was a viral video of a private in the army that was dismissed. It was dismissed because they were after these bandits. And just about the time they wanted to overrun those bandits, order came from above
so what
that they should withdraw.
Calling for
now, who are these people making these orders? Military men will only be instigated to take a withdrawal tactic if by politicians that have the power to do so.
Okay. Well, in our next conversation, still on insecurity, I mean, it's the lawmakers are already saying, look, there are spies in the military.
It's not even spies, though. They said they looked at the list of new recruitment. The bandits, Boko Haram,
part of that list. We'll talk about that. But let me quickly go back to Aliyu Usman. Now, I hope you're still with us.
Yes.
Good, great. Now, is it enough to declare a security emergency, or should the president have just declared a state of emergency around the country?
Is that question for me?
Aliyu Usman, please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
What I think is when you look at the entire insecurity challenge that is facing the country, each one is unique within the context of where it is predominant. For instance, when you look at the situation of the bandits, it will take a different approach addressing the issue of the bandits than it will take addressing the issue of the insurgents. Now, when you look at the dynamics with respect to the situation of the bandits, where they kidnap, rape, and do all manner of criminal activities, addressing certain social issues can solve it. But when you look at the insurgency going on in the northeast, especially, for instance, simply addressing social issues alone will not solve it. You have to go into do. So even when you are declaring a state of emergency, it's not just about the declaration itself, for instance, assuming that's what has been done. It is what you do within the context, the approach that you use in trying to address some of these things that will ultimately solve the problem. So I agree very well with what Mr. Fanimo was saying the other time with respect to mass recruitment of police, for instance. When you mass recruit like that per se, and you look at the Nigerian state and how we go about vetting, the vetting process, pretty much anybody, the system is so porous that nearly anybody, not even into the security agencies, for instance, but virtually anybody can go even into high office. Nearly anybody can become a DG in this country, can become a minister, can win an election to come to the National Assembly. And we have seen cases where people have won elections from their prison cells in the past. So it's about the value system that we have as a people and how much we are willing to hold it to account. Secondly, it's also about our democracy. You see, democracy is become more and more commercialized, more and more expensive, more and more dirty, that people with integrity just look back and say, oh, they wouldn't want to soil their hands. And by the time a democratic process becomes as expensive as ours is becoming, you end up with an oligarchy, where it is only certain people in a certain class that can own the system. People with money can just sit down and decide to own the system and then have the people you put in place as their leaders, as their employees. So sometimes we tend to scratch the surface in looking for solutions.
All right.
In looking for solutions, we need to dig deep. Of course, there are short terms, there are medium terms, and there are long terms. Political office holders are looking for quick wins. So sometimes the approach they go for are the things that will solve the immediate short term, but in the medium and long term, you still suffer again. So you see a relapse.
All right.
Whatever achievement they would claim, or in the long run, total even breakdown.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. You know, the challenge becomes having to take everybody's contribution, especially when you have very sound people analyzing issues like this, and we have all four on the platform today are very sound, and we have a limited time. But do bear with us as we try to make sure there is, you know, even contribution from everybody. Well, thank you very much, Ali Usman. Barrister Asim Adams, I think you want to react to that question. Please go ahead before we move to the next conversation. I would like Prince Nixon to also hang in there.
Absolutely, I didn't get the question because I didn't hear the question that was asked.
Yeah, the question is the state of emergency. I mean, the president declared a security emergency, and the question I'm asking is it enough to declare a security emergency? Shouldn't it have been a state of emergency?
See, a state of emergency would have been better. Can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead.
A state of emergency under Section 306 would have been better. Because if you go into what that particular section of the Constitution is talking about, it says that if any part of Nigeria is being aggressively overrun, I'm just trying to use my words to describe it. That if any part of Nigeria is being aggressively overrun, we must face the truth that bandits and terrorists have overrun, a chunk of the land and territories of Nigeria. So what the president should have done, like he did in Rivers State, he would have declared a state of emergency in northern Nigeria, especially the whole of the northeast. The president should have declared a state of emergency in the whole of the northeast. It does not mean that the president will remove the governors. No. He does not have such powers. So what he needed to have done is let it be that the whole of the northern part of Nigeria, where these particular incursions, the violent, overrunning of our territories is occasioning and happening, the president should immediately declare a state of emergency there, so that troops and the DSS, security agencies, and everybody will be on their toes. That is the only way we can fight this. When you say you declare security, I don't really understand what that means. Are you going to buy more arms? Are you going to, collaborate with America or France for you to fight this? I don't really understand. Our forest cannot be, the way it is now, the ungoverned spaces in Nigeria is more than the governed spaces. That is the problem we are having. And the manpower of the Nigerian police, the DSS, even the Nigerian army, cannot occupy our forest and sanitize it effectively, because it's a large country, very large country, but very minimal number of security agencies, as the case may be. So the best way would have been, look, emergency rule is happening in northern part of Nigeria, declare curfew. There's nothing wrong if the president declare a curfew, from maybe 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., every day, till the situation, it normalizes. That will checkmate these incursions that do happen in Borno, northeast, northwest, and even north central, as the case may be there. He does not need to waste any more time. Let him use his powers under Section 3 to declare that an emergency, as he did in Rivers State. In Rivers State, the kind of turmoil and whatever happened there was not even as large as what we have now. But he declared an emergency there. Why can't he declare same now in the northern part of Nigeria, as the case may be? That is the only way I feel this can be tackled. And secondly, and lastly on this issue is this: where are the Tucano jets that were bought by Buhari? Taxpayers' money, really trillions were spent in buying those Tucano jets. They told us that the Tucano jets are well equipped to locate, co-locate, circumlocate, bandits at any point in time. What has happened to those jets? Exactly. So this is a question we need to answer, and I believe that the president has to do more than he has done. I said, well, he has taken a step, but the step is not good enough, in my own opinion.
Okay, in your own opinion. All right, Prince Nixon Makwara, one question for you, and then we'll wrap this up. Well, still around insecurity. Well, for you now, Prince Nixon Makwara, I understand that you're still with us. Now, let's talk about how do you react to the swipe or the jab coming from Atiku Abubakar, saying that under Tinubu's administration, bandits are having an alternative government, as they could negotiate with the government in power, really. How do you react to that statement from Atiku Abubakar?
I honestly feel disappointed that such a thing is coming from a statesman like President Atiku, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Honestly speaking, with the wave of insecurity in Nigeria, what we need at this moment is collaboration from all levels.
Well, is that? Don't you think there is some truth in that? Saying that levies are being paid in some parts of the country, kidnappers, terrorists have imposed taxes on some people in some parts of the country. Isn't that some sort of alternative government in operation?
As a matter of fact, we have seen that over the years, and they didn't start within this last administration. Unfortunately, I have not read in any parts where the same President Atiku has come openly to condemn any of these operations. One of the things I know about Mr. President is that kind of operations he handles. He's not a man that talks too much. He's somebody that operates in secrecy. And mind you that most cases, what you don't know in war, the enemy does not know. Most cases decide a war, and we get against you the victory. Secrecy and display can win your admirations, and kind of your allies are happy with what you're doing. But what mostly wins the war? So I believe there's a lot going on secretly that will end the cycle of this occupation that's been going on within the country for the last few years. But for another statesman who is supposed to be in a mourning mood over the nation at this time, they're playing politics with insecurity is most unfortunate and rather very responsible, if I may say. We could have ended this over the years if every of them came together. But because all of them keep playing politics with people's lives, just imagine what...
Those that are not in government.
Yeah, but he was part of the government. He was part of it. There is no way you can win this kind of insecurity war against this insecurity without collaboration and stakeholders engagement. All stakeholders coming on the same table to decide it. You know, it's political. Let us face the reality. These things we are seeing today is not alien to us. We have seen it before. When they wanted Jonathan out, it increased. There was abduction. Now, some people who felt that they are not at home with the strategies politically and they could not take control of the House of Reps and Senate and the governors like they used to control from the days of Obasanjo. And today, they are just trying to put another strategy to force the president out, maybe against 2027. How long will these politicians keep playing with people's lives? How long will our innocent blood be shed in this country? How long are our people going to die because some people just want? How long will this continue? It is high time that all Nigerians come together to condemn such stakeholders, such people on a high level, that when they come to play politics with our lives, because the innocent people are the ones being abducted, they are the ones being killed. Their children are not here. I am sure that none of them could attend that St. Mary's Secondary School, that their children were abducted. None of their children or their grandchildren has been a victim in this kind of insurgency. That is why they could always pump money to upset Nigeria and at the end of the day control the powers. It is time all of us, both the people in the media, to come together and not give them that particular popularity they seek. If they want to end any regime, fine. They should talk about institutionalizing our democratic processes so that the people will decide. And I bet you that if actually the decision of the electorate determines who gets there, none of them will be there. You know this very well. But by the time that they create a system that only gives us options of just the few of them, that is what we keep getting. We have mediocre in leadership, and this type of personalities are not what's coming back there. So let them advocate for framework that
you're campaigning now. It's not campaign time. Well, thank you very much, Prince Nixon Okwara. And of course, the question: how long? How long must this go on? Reminds me of a song. I think Luther Vandross is there about. But anyway, let's get into another conversation. I would like you to stay with us. It's still around insecurity because that's our focus for today.